Yo, what's up guys? We got pokeaim here, and today we have the final tier shift, the final changes for Pokemon Sword and Shield before the Crown Tundra DLC. So the final tier shifts for the Isle of Armor DLC. After that will be in Crown Tundra in 21 days. And well, I guess 20 days after this video is posted, and we'll have a completely different metagame, and I think it's going to be a great metagame. Personally, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. But let's get into this. It's just going to be, you know, talking video. Feel free to sit back, do whatever you want, tab out, don't matter. We're just going to be talking. Feel free to give me your thoughts as well. And of course, if you aren't already subbed, feel free to subscribe, because we got a lot of great content coming out. Oh, the end of this month is going to be fire, man. And of course, we do have a Megas to High ladder later on today. So we're going to go over the rises first, and then we'll be going over the drops. And the ones that I don't know as much about, I'm probably just going to skip over and ask that you guys say stuff. Much like all the other months previously, after the Isle of Armor was released, basically the tier after it got hit hard. The first month it was UU, the second month it was RU, the third month it was NU, and now it's PU that got hit hard with some giant drops. But yeah, without further ado, we have from UUBL to OU, Jirachi. Now I've seen a few Jirachi on some hyper offenses on the ladder with like Meteor Beam type setup things. I've seen Mew and Necrozma do the exact same thing. I've also seen Spadef Wish Jirachi and Calm Mind variants as well with Weakness Policy, as well as Cosmic Power variants with Stored Power come into play in OU. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Jirachi in this metagame, and I don't think it's bad by any means. I just don't like the amount of Dark types and Ghost types around. Not that Jirachi can't beat them, because it can. But on Hyper Offense, it does its job. It can also set up rocks, can Wish Pass as well if need be. And it's one of those few Pokemon that just pivots into like a lot of defensive mods and doesn't care. Rhyperior moved from RU to OU. This is an amazing Pokemon. It's actually one of the trends as of recent. I mean, you can see it moved all the way from RU to OU, but which is like a movement we don't see from Pokemon that, unless they're like Pokemon like Tangrowth and Gastrodon and things like that. Those are the movements we see Pokemon from that. We don't typically see something jump from all the way down there to a higher tier. But Rhyperior is really good in OU right now. It is a fantastic Stealth Rock setter, something that can take on Zero Aura, which is pretty cool too. It's also really good at Swords Dance, like offensive variants. It's also like there's Swords Dance defensive variants that can help it beat Corviknight with rocks, and there's also Swords Dance offensive variants that run around that run Swords Dance Earthquake, Stone Edge, or Swords Dance High Horsepower, Stone Edge, High Horsepower if there's grass and terrain running around. And oh, that's another reason why Jirachi is alright, because it resists that. Swords Dance, High Horsepower, Stone Edge, and then either Heat Crash. I've seen some Heavy Slam variants as well. I've seen Mega Horn as well as a means of dealing with Slowbro and Pokemon like Tangrowth, which is a really cool thing for this Pokemon itself. And there's also Choice Band, which is something that's been the flavor of the month, I would say. That has Stone Edge, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Heat Crash. And with that Pokemon, just you barely have to predict. You click Stone Edge most of the time. You click Earthquake when necessary. Heat Crash lets you nab things like Ferrothorn, and Heavy Slam is just the OHKO on the Clefable. So really cool Pokemon. Good check to a lot of mons in the tier just because of solid rock and just natural bulk all around, and just really, really strong. Also with Cinderace being released for like X amount of days, and then it got banned again. That was really cool. But this is a really good balance breaker as well, stall breaker too, and just a good stealth rock. Reuniclus went from RUBL to UU. I've seen a lot of Reuniclus in tournaments, a lot of them being Calm Mind variants. I mean, with UU having, I don't want to say passive because they can be offensive, but like Cobalion, Galarian Weezing, even though even Galarian Weezing runs like offensive natures too. Just being able to pivot in on everything. I've seen Assault Vest run around, which is cool for things like Keldeo and whatnot, and Noivern in the tier. And then of course there are Calm Mind variants too, and Stored Power variants, and Iron Defense variants as well, even with Zarude running around. I love that Zarude is in UU. I think it's a good tier for Zarude itself. But Reuniclus, whether it be Magic Guard or Regenerator with like Future Sight type of thing, which is also something that's running around, it's just good at breaking, and it's good at eating hits too, and it's just good at pivoting. So it's just really good at doing everything, right? It can break through fatter teams, but it also can pivot in on most special attacks, a lot of physical attacks too from weaker passive mons, like potentially Cobalion. And Cobalion is weak, I'm sorry. Max attack, you 279, you're weak. But overall, just being able to take hits like that, checking Rotom forms, checking Roserade, Starmie. I don't want to say Sylveon because I don't think it's much of a check to Sylveon, but like Tentacruel and things like that, and Weezing I think is a big one as well. We also have from RE to UU Galarian Slowbro also came back, and I like that mon a lot too. I think Quick Draw is really good, but I also think the big thing is that it's water and what's it called, poison. So this allows it to just basically resist most of the moves besides Shadow Ball from Galarian Weezing, which is a big thing. Gets the Regenerator, can take close combats coming out, basic Slowbro. As an offensive mon, it's really good too. I've seen Assault Vest just as well as the other one too. I don't think Assault Vest is as good, but I think that defensive or calm mindsets or nasty flat sets are good too, especially with Pokemon like Rotom. Not Rotom, but there was, what was it? Its ability to also like be able to overtake other slow bros and slow kings is pretty cool too. And just an overall really nice little mon. Like with a Rhyperior too, or just resist. Like it could take on Zarude as well, like eat the hit and pop it with Sludge Bomb and things like that. It's just an interesting Pokemon. Like I've seen Assault Vest on this, which I think is pretty cool too. Also absorbing Toxic Spikes from Galarian Weezing is a big thing for that Pokemon. So for NUBL, we have to RU, Toxicroak, Vikavolt, and Sigilyph. Sigilyph I've seen a lot in RU tournament play, whether it be Calm Mind or a Life Orb Magic Guard, or like I said, Calm Mind with Flame Orb or Psycho Shift, whatever it is like that. I've seen some Defog variants too. Toxicroak as well in the RU tier is, I guess you could say, a little bit better just because Inteleon is really good too. So being able to at least come in on a water move I think is really nice for a Pokemon. It sets up on Mantine and don't run Air Slash type of thing. Very strong Pokemon too. I like its ability to break through like Vaporeon, Vileplume type things if necessary. So it's really good in terms of that. Has obviously Sucker Punch priority and whatnot, so it's good. Being able to take the water moves I think is the big thing that comes with this Pokemon. And just having some good. I'm surprised that we didn't see Caparaja move up to you, but maybe tournament play. And I mean, I already know tournament play and ladder play is just different. But also being able to like stop flip turn Volcarona, Barraskewda is pretty cool too. And then we have Vikavolt moving up to the RU tier. Now, Vikavolt's interesting, but it's a good fighting check for a Pokemon like Passimian, which are pretty big threats. Obviously, it's a good answer to just defensive Pokemon in general. Can Voltage around, can Sticky Web. I've seen Specs a few times. I just like heavy duty. I think heavy duty boots like Volt Switch support type of thing. Just heavy duty boots, Volt Switch, Bug Buzz, and either Energy Ball and either Roost, or maybe no Bug Buzz, but you run Roost over that too. And that lets you potentially deal with Licks. I don't know why I said Licks. Steelix. And good pivoter all around. Just overall great and bulky Pokemon too. So also from NU to RU we have Decidueye. Now this is interesting too because like in NU I don't think Decidueye is that great right now personally. At least like Specs. I don't know what it is. Like I played a lot of NU because of tournaments, but and while Specs is good, I just don't. It's hard to say that it's good because Specs Leaf Storm and stuff like that is good. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a ladder that makes it not seem good because you see Sapsip or Miltank on the ladder, but you don't see that. And Miltank is like amazing in, if you actually look at the usage stats for NU right here, Miltank is number 9. I think it should be a little bit higher. I'm surprised Decidueye is still that high, but then again, it is ladder play. Maybe ladder versus tournament is a little bit better, but like, I don't like Decidueye as much because I think it's harder to get in, especially because a lot of the fairies plus Ninjask are ridiculous. You see Rubambia is number 1 in usage. Then the Steels, which are faster and do massive damage, like all these mons can deal with that. So, wasn't a huge fan, but I guess in RU it's pretty cool. I guess being able to, I mean, just looking at the RU tier, it has Poltergeist, which is pretty strong as well. Shadow Ball, Poltergeist, excuse me. Yeah, naturally checking stuff like Gigalith is really nice. Maybe then Gigalith does so much damage too. Surprise. But maybe it's like another thing just because Galarian Slowbro. I know Galarian Slowbro being gone from RU is such a big thing for RU because that mon is just... I feel like that mon dominates the tier personally. And usage might disagree. I mean, it is number 4 in usage. But I still think that's really interesting to see that like this mon is all the way up there. So, I like how Dumbaze is number 6 in usage on the ladder. Wow, is it really that great? That's awesome. I love that ghost types are just dominating like consistently this generation. I think that's so cool. But yeah, anyway, from NU to RU, Decidueye. I know for a fact that Tangela is up here because that mon walls so much, right? Tangela has always been like a good mon in RU in my opinion, but being able to naturally switch in on ground type attacks, fighting type attacks, or Persimmon, even taking U-turns, throwing off sleep powders and knockoffs, I think is very good. It's Tangela's strong suit, right? Like no matter what is coming in, I mean, especially in a heavy duty boots like the gen, right? That's the item. That's the item of the gen, right? Heavy duty boots. That's the item probably of the century. Heavy duty boots, right? Tangela being able to knock them off, even if it can't really touch a Pokemon coming in, right? But then it also can deal with Virizion and Steelix, which is pretty cool. I wish the Steelix fell on the NU. Can we get some steals? I mean, we got some crazy drops, but I don't think they're going to be staying. We'll see, though. But, yeah, a really good RU pivot, and it's always that type of one. Like, just being able to just come in on the physical attackers, like in Rock, Hitmonlee, checking that, things like that. Golurk as well. Though you got to be careful about Golurk depending on what move it clicks. So from drops, we have from OU to UU, Necrozma. Now, Necrozma had usage in the OU tier as on like that one popular hyper offensive team that has basically Stealth Rock, Meteor Beam, Heat Wave, Photon Geyser Necrozma. They just use it as your lead and use it to disrupt bulkier teams. But I guess it wasn't enough, man. I guess it wasn't. But if you look down at UU, I think that this mon is always a threat in a sense. I think Dragon Dance is really good. I think Calm Mind is also extremely good too. It being able, packing knockoff and stuff like that too, and it's just natural. It's Prism Armor ability, it's natural bulk. I think it's incredible as well. And UU just lost like the dog, and again, like a lot of the mons that outspeed it and threaten it, they don't knock it out in one move at least. And a lot of the dark types, it can do a lot of damage back as well. Like Dragon Dance can Brick Break, Obstagoon, same thing with Bisharp. Obviously Brick Break is whack as a move. I don't like Brick Break as a move. I wish it got close combat. That's my favorite move to give Pokemon and make them absolutely broken, right? But I do wish it got CC. But overall, cool little addition. Can also just like Iron Defense type of win if it wants to. Though with the Zarude in the tier, and then can't like store power type of thing, right? You can't really. Now from UU to RU, Kingdra is there, and my god, Kingdra looks delicious in the RU tier. Like this mon, oof! Look at these. Half these mons are slower, and the other half can't even knock them out, except for Gardevoir. But I can see something like Focus Energy, you know, Focus Energy Sniper Kingdra, putting in so much work and just breaking Dragon Dance or even Rain teams in general. The thing about RU is that like it is a sun-based tier, I would say, right? But like, not really. I don't want to say it's a sun-based because I mean it is, but it isn't at the same time because Gigalith is down there as well, which is one of the best sun answers. But I can see some rain, like even just a random rain dance on Kingdra just disrupting so much. No Pokemon want to take water plus dragon moves in this tier. There's nothing. Mantine, you can run like sub Focus Energy or something to beat Mantine 1v1. Probably can't even break your sub unless it's running, like I said, Air Slash. And maybe even that's like some 21 to 27% or something. Probably just a little bit more. I might be counting out Mantine a little bit, but that's a crazy breaker in the tier. I like that too. And Kingdra also got some cool moves this generation on top of that. Like they actually did not let Kingdra go. They should have got Dragon Darts. I hope it gets Dragon Darts in the future. But they didn't make it like, they gave it better moves. They gave it Liquidation, and it also has a Scale Shot, which is pretty cool, so you might see some sort of boosting thing. I don't think that's as good, obviously, as like a special one, because special can break things like Vaporeon and Vileplume a lot better, but still a cool one. From RE to NU, we got Snorlax and a Escavalier. My god. Now, I don't think any of these mons are going to stay. Personally, maybe a Escavalier, but I don't think Snorlax is going to stay. It's extremely hard to break a Snorlax once it is boosted in this tier, even with the immense amount of fighting types that NU has, right? It's very, very, very hard. And yeah, it's just, especially with the fact that I think though, like a special wall like Snorlax or just like a tank like Snorlax is still really good though. It's not good. I doubt I get to even use it in Snake Draft, but it's a mon that is, I don't know, it's it's just too hard to knock it out after it curses. Like it really is. All the fighting types, there's like a plethora of offensive fairy. I mean, you can look at the usage stats. Offensive fairies are phenomenal in this tier. If you look at the other stuff, there's like Whimsicott, obviously there's Ribombee, but Ribombee checked by Snorlax, Duraludon checked by Snorlax. Those run by special. Silvally Steel are usually support defog. Gallade, sure, but I mean I can switch out to my Mudsdale if I want to, or whatever to deal with it. It does check Ninetales very well. It checks passive Miltank because Miltank runs Toxic, Seismic Toss, Milk Drink, and then Stealth Rock or whatever filler move it wants to run on that set, usually Stealth Rock. So like Curselax, busted in the tier. I don't think it'll stay. Even though the tier does have fighters like Gallade and Sock, even though Sock just dropped, and like Poliwrath and things like that, I don't think this mon will stay at all. Like not at all. This mon is too much. I cannot believe we're in a generation where Snorlax is NU, man. That's just disrespectful to me. I feel, but I mean, if you look at the RU tier again, Passimian all the way up there, Ghost good too. Rhyperior was, these mons moved up. Haze on Mantine, things like that. Maybe it just wasn't doing its thing. That's it. And then we have Escavalier. Now, like I mentioned before, NU desperately needs good steel types. I think a lot of the lower tiers too. So just to mention some steel types that we have in the NU tier. Silvally Steel, okay, that's probably the best one in terms of defensive capabilities, and I guess Galarian Stunfisk. Then we have Duraludon, which isn't that good special defensive wise, and when there's a million off, Duraludon is not a good defensive steel because it loses to the offensive fairy types in tier. It's Pharaoh Seed, but very, very passive. Easy to take advantage of. Magneton as well is alright, but like not really defensive. I mean, it's okay defensively. But like we don't have like something like, we don't have like a, oh, there's a special attacker. I can go out to my Spidef Jirachi. What, Togedemaru? Is that our like same thing? Or Wishes as well and Zingzaps and stuff? I guess it is Jirachi. But this is a good mon. I guess Galarian, Alolan Sandslash, excuse me. But this is like a really good mon because not only is it good defensively and naturally comes in on basically everything on the tier, right? Like if you look at the tier, this tier is Thwacky and like Sneasel and like a regular Rotom and like a Rapidash, man. Do you think that Escavalier belongs with those just based on design alone? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I know what I'm saying. But like, why is Thwacky and an Escavalier the same one? But yeah, Escavalier, incredible. Gets close combat. This boy gets Drill Run, you know, knock off, Mega Horn, all it needs. It just gets so much and incredibly hard to beat down. And I do think this mon will probably be, probably end up being banned too, honestly. I don't see it staying for too long, but defensively it's so healthy for the tier. But offensively, it's so hard to switch into, and it can basically break every. Like you can run just like a max HP or like not like max HP Sunspidef, and then like Swords Dance, Close Combat, Mega Horn, Knockoff, and you probably just beat the entire tier. That's it. You probably do. Like, I'm just gonna switch from my Fire type anyway. I'm gonna take every other hit with my base 105 defenses from every single attack coming out. So I don't think this mon will stay. We'll see though. Be fun to use it. NU to PUBL, we have Kangaskhan and Rotom Frost. Now I actually believe Rotom Frost is amazing in the NU tier. I think it's really good. I think Nasty Ply is really good. Its biggest drawback is it has to rely on Blizzard to do damage, and that's probably why it fell. And then you have Kangaskhan. I still think Kangaskhan is good too. I've used Heavy Duty Boots. I've used Silk Scarf. The metagame has a lot of Mudsdale now. Metagame has a lot of Miltank. These are mons that can just shrug off attacks and Toxic and recover back or just kill it 1v1. And doesn't get too much recovery back, so not the best in terms of breaking. So those mons would have fell down to PU. Now for PU, we have Creamy, Avila, Galarian Corsola, Cramorant, Cursula, Ferroseed, Galvantula, Jolteon, Pincurchin, Quagsire, Quillfish, the Rune, Sock, and I don't know what that Silvally is, but that's a Silvally. I do not know what type of Silvally it is. That's definitely not Steel. Let me zoom in on this bad boy. I think that's Dark. I don't know what that is, but I know the ones that are in the tier are Dark, Dragon, Ghost, and Steel. So whatever, I don't care what type of Silvally it is. Alcremie, not the best defensive fairy type in the tier, because first off, all the fighters have good coverage anyway, whether the poison jab or like stab, legs, and headbutt. But on top of that, though it does have mystical fire, it's too slow. It cannot get its job done. And then it's weak as well. Like it's not breaking. It's not breaking much. And like you have like Silvally Steel being one of the top mons in the tier. Then you have Wheezing being an incredible mon in the tier 2. So not that great. I don't think Avalugg is a good physical wall in the tier as well, because teams that consist of like Ninjas plus offensive fairies plus like wishy-wash and things like that. Avalugg just can't wall, it can't spin, it can't do its job. That's it. Offensive Rotom is good too. I think Avalugg is kind of a sleeper pick though, but just the special side is just holding it back. Galarian Corsola kind of sucks. Everything runs toxic in the NU tier. Everything has recovery in a sense. The mods that we're gonna stay in, like Miltank gets burnt. Oh well, you can't nightshade it. It's just toxic you back and stealth rock and spam size and toss till you switch. And by I mean spam size and toss, I mean it's not gonna hit you because it doesn't run Scrappy always, but it's gonna just keep clicking this button because it doesn't have to care about you at all. You can't do much. Cramorant, I think this is low-key a decent mon, especially because of the fact that Mudsdales are sometimes running Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Protect, and Toxic, and Mudsdale being one of the more popular Pokemon in the tier. As you can see right here, it's also a pretty good check to Ninetales. Can also potentially check Silvally Steel. Can also check Ribombee to an extent, but I mean, it's Cramorant at the end of the day. I think if Cramorant had Toxic in its arsenal, if it wasn't cursed to be this generation Pokemon, and this generation got rid of Toxic as a way of like for mons that weren't poison, it would have helped out a lot more. But that's a mon we not going to see. I don't know how it's going to do in PU. But again, for anybody that plays PU, please tell me how these mons are going to do. I'm just trying to talk about why they fell. Cursula. Now this mon, if it gets off a special attack, is incredibly good. Okay, it is incredibly strong. But just like Galarian Corsola, Cursula is slow as hell. It is incredibly hard to get in and has 50 base defense in a metagame where fighters have knockoff, where it's hard as hell to get in on anything, where Miltank runs special defensive too, where Mudsdale outspeeds you naturally, so it just hurts that mon. It hurts that mon too much. Feral Seed fell down. Honestly, I think Feral Seed kind of sucks too. I'll be real. Sub Rotom, or Rotom will just sub on it and Wisp or things like that. Silvally Steel will just Flamethrower and Defog. It gives way too much momentum. It's way too weak in my opinion. And then you have Ninetales being such an amazing Pokemon. Shoot, even Mudsdale's Earthquakes start to rack up on that thing too. So I do not like this mon. Like, Duraludon doesn't do much to it even if it has body press, but still. And obviously Ribombee doesn't have hidden power. But like, if I have to put a Feral Seed on my team, the team really has to have a way of pressuring with hazards. And a lot of knockoff on the squad too. Galvantula fell down. Now, I think Galvantula is actually pretty decent. I do. I just think that its lack of bulk, and even though its speed tier is really good, but it actually fails to pick up KOs. Again, Miltank and Garbodor can run special defensive. Eldegoss can at least pivot on Thunders, and I still think Specs is really good. Don't get me wrong. I actually think Specs is amazing. Like, this is the mon that I've been looking at as well as of late. But like, you know, you're not switching in on Ribombee's attack like Moonblast, and Togedemaru is decently popular too, and it has Lightning Rod and Wish Protect, special defensive. So I think it is a good mon, personally. It just doesn't have the power to break even with a choice specs and the bulk to get itself in. Like, it's fast, but it's not fast enough. Like, it needed Ribombee speed to be a threat in this tier, I feel. Jolteon, I don't want to say it's the same boat, but I mean, the number one popular ground type in the tier is a Mudsdale. The only thing Jolteon can do is toxic that thing. That doesn't even matter. Jolteon cannot come in on anything. It's probably never ever clicking Thunderbolt in a battle ever. You might click Shadow Ball, which is cool, but then Miltank is on a bunch of teams too. I do think offensive electrics are underrated though, personally, but I haven't found a way to really abuse them much yet. Speaking of abusing offensive electrics, Pincurchin is there. Pincurchin is NU to PU because there's no Alolan Rapidash in this tier. If Alolan Rapidash was in the tier, Pincurchin would have been busted, man. If Trickroom was better in this tier as well, per character, it would have been busted with that Rising Voltage. But there's nothing to really abuse it down here. And like I mentioned before, the Electro types that want to abuse it, why would I put Pincurchin on my team when I already have Rotoms, right? That can already do work for me. So it's tough, man. It's a tough world. Who cares about Quagsire dropping, because you can always use Quagsire and do whatever the hell you want every single time. But I guess part of the reason it's also toxic is everywhere Eldegoss is popular too. It doesn't break at all. It just gets poisoned. Whatever Pokemon it comes in on, Mudsdale will just toxic it as it switches in. Miltank just toxic it switching. Gallade can end up being Choice Band too. Now Quillfish fell down, and again, I think heavy duty boots has a lot to do with this. Personally, I think that like I fought people that have like 5 heavy duty boots on their team and plus a Levitate Mon type of thing. So spike stacking isn't as good. Hazard control is actually interesting in the tier because like you have Defog and Silvally Steel, which I'm not like the biggest fan of either, even though I'll use a lot, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. But you have Spin and Eldegoss, Spin and Alolan Sandslash. There's a few others that can do some things as well, but I don't think Quill has the power right now. And like if I want to use a defensive water, I'd rather use Wishy-Washy because I get U-turn momentum and the just damage from Wishy-Washy. And I said defensive water, yeah, and I said Wishy-Washy in the same sentence because the most popular set is a physically defensive set. So being able to do that, pretty cool. I'd rather use that Mon. It also gives me momentum as well with U-turn. So the rune fell down. Honestly, this Mon probably would have been NU if it had Shadow Sneak as a move. I'm gonna be real. They gave it Poltergeist. It has Earthquake. It has Trick. If it had Shadow Sneak, so it could actually revenge kill fast, less bulky Mons. Scarf Gallade, Specs Rotom, you know, Rabombi at about half, things like that. I think this Mon would actually have stayed NU and it'd be a good offensive threat. They should have given it Swords Dance too. If its counterpart gets Nasty Plow, why would this thing get Swords Dance? Sucks. But PU is going to be interesting with that Mon. Y'all think that's going to be banned in PU? I feel like that Mon is like, I just feel like Ghosts are just too much in every tier. Then we have Sock. I'm sad that Sock fell. I think Sock is really good. One of the reasons I think Sock is really good is because Mold Breaker Earthquake lets you hit Rotom. It's good for Weezing as well, and it's good for Garbodor. And then it has knockoff as well, so Earthquake knockoff typically in your arsenal close combat, and you run your Poison Jab maybe for Scarf or Bombi and things like that. But I mean the flavor of the more popular fighting type, as you can see right here, is Gallade. Gallade has Zen Headbutt, so it can actually use its stab move to damage those incoming Mons that would otherwise resist close combat. So that's a big difference between them, even though Sock is faster. And I have no idea what that Silvally is. It might be Dragon. Dark. Ghost. It's definitely not Steel, that's all I know. But whatever, I'm gonna fall down. In the P to Z, we have Lycanroc. Both of the kitties, both of the Meowsticks. Polito cannot have rain, for those that didn't know, and Wigglytuff. Now, I don't play any ZU, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't play a lot of PU either. I actually thought that Meowstic was pretty good. Like, but let's look at the PU usage and what they have to do. Oh, actually, I've seen a lot of PU though. Oh my god, Pheasant's beautiful, man. I love that Mon crits. I hate when I fight it versus Envy and Molotov Rambats though, but Sandslash number 1, damn. Drifblim, damn. This kind of looks like Tournament, almost. Yeah, almost. I guess a bunch of ghost types, some dark types too. Doesn't let Meowstic be as good. I mean, Meowstic doesn't have the coverage for that. I mean, it does have good coverage, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah. But I guess that's probably it. Like, not being able to, like, I love Pheasant in this tier, man. Pheasant's cool. It really, 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 really is. But yeah, that's honestly all I have to talk about. It's not the most exciting tier shift, and the reason why I say it's not the most exciting is because, well, I guess it's cool for the tier that they're gonna have whatever. We're about to get a new metagame in 20 days, and that's what's gonna be hella exciting, man. Our OU is gonna be thrown out, and then all the YouTubers, me and Blunder, I was gonna say me and Blunder, we're gonna like OU again, which is gonna be great. I cannot wait to love OU. And play it and battle and have titles like Close Combat Tapu Koko destroys, Player Tapu Koko destroys, Rising Voltage Tapu Koko. I could make so much of Tapu Koko, right? And not even then, we're gonna have like new Pokemon to play with too, which is always fun, and obviously new as in old returning ones too. So there's so much to be excited for. I feel like for that. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these tier shifts. Not that they matter so much, but it's still interesting for the tiers that have to stay with these, and then. The next month, we're probably going to see 1 million drops between those 6 days of usage or 8 days of usage or whatever. So that'll be cool. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video later today. Megas to high ladder. Leave a like, subscribe. Goodbye, my friends.